How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another reaction video on Denmark. On this one, we got 5 reasons why working in Denmark is better. So we're going to find out right here, what exactly are these reasons? Why is working in Denmark better? I didn't even know they were, that it was a better place to work. I figured it probably was because America sucks here, and I always hear about European work environments and the benefits and everything being a lot better. I don't know for sure about Denmark in particular. I know like the Netherlands and stuff like that. I've done some reaction videos to some of their stuff, and they have a lot more stuff like paid time off for the father and the mother when you have a baby and child and stuff like that. Whereas here in America, you don't get time. You get time off 6 weeks if you're the mother, but it's not paid. Vacation time, holiday time, as you call it over there, I think, is a lot different and stuff. So I'm assuming Denmark is probably going to be a lot closer to the way the Netherlands would be than America for sure. So, anyways, Woohoo Inc. is the name of the original channel, and the links to the original video will be in the description section down below, as always. So, let's check this out and find out 5 reasons why working in Denmark is better.
Follow that kind of thing. You've probably seen that Denmark is constantly listed as one of the happiest countries on the planet.
I
Actually,
hear
we used to
that.
be number one until we got beaten by first Norway and then Finland. The bastards. But interestingly, Danes are not only happy in life, they're also happy at work. According to many studies of workers
Interesting.
among nations, the happiest employees in the world are in Denmark. Why is that? And what can the rest of the world learn from the Danes?
Why is that, guys? And what can the rest of the world learn from the Danes? We're gonna find out. And side note, that's a creepy picture where I just paused it at. Does not do that man any justice at all. Look at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and push play.
Here are 5 reasons why working in Denmark is better than anywhere else in the world. Reason number 1, low working hours. I once
Well,
talked to an American who had gotten
that'll make everybody happy. Low working hours. We work a lot here in America.
a job as a manager at a Danish company in the US. He really wanted to prove his worth, so he did what he had always done and worked 70, 80 hours a week. That's how you become successful, right? After his first month, his new Danish manager calls him in for a meeting. The guy fully expects to be praised for his hard work and dedication and long hours. But
Yeah.
instead, his boss seems really concerned and asks him, why do you work so much? Is something wrong? Do you have a problem delegating? What can we do to fix this? He was not expecting that.
Eh.
Some non-Danes wonder if Danes ever work. Not only do Danes tend to leave work at a reasonable hour every day, they also get 5 to 6 weeks of vacation per year, several national holidays, and up to a year of paid parental leave per kid.
Up to a year paid parental leave. Wow. You know what the women gets in America? They get 6 weeks unpaid. That's it. 6 weeks unpaid. The father gets nothing. They go back to work. Wow.
I talked to a Japanese worker once whose company had a Danish supplier, and she was astounded when she sent an email to a Danish employee one summer and got an autoresponder back saying that the person was on vacation for 3 weeks and would not be reading emails. This shows up clearly in the data. According to OECD statistics, an average American employee works around 1,800 hours a year, while the average South Korean racks up 1,900 hours. Meanwhile, the average Dane only works 1,346 hours a year. Danes also have
Wow.
more leisure hours than almost any other OECD workers, and the link between sufficient free time and happiness is well established in the research. The difference
I'm always happier when I have sufficient free time. For sure, for sure. I could clearly relate to that. Like nobody wants to slave away and not have any time for themselves. And what's up with every time I pause this, this guy's face is in an awkward spot. But yeah, yeah. Let's find out. Let's find out some more.
to other countries can be stark. Many cultures around the world celebrate overwork as a sign of commitment. You have to
I
put
don't
in the
get it.
hours, is the message, in the mistaken belief that the more hours employees work, the more work they get done. The worst example might be the Chinese tech billionaire Jack Ma, who celebrated the 996 rule. This means that you're supposed to work from 9 to 9, 6 days a week. That's
Ugh.
72 hours.
I used to work. I used to basically work those amount of hours when I used to do a factory job. We had mandatory overtime, but the thing is, we worked 12 hours a day. We had an hour lunch, so I'm at the place for 13 hours. It took me an hour drive time every day because I was a half an hour away. So that's 14 hours that I'm away from the house every day. I was only allowed to be home for 10 hours. 8 of that's to sleep. I had 2 hours of free time every single day, and this was a 6-day-a-week thing. That was terrible. I was miserable.
Of work a week. I call this kind of thing the cult of overwork, and I have another video on why that is completely idiotic.
Yeah.
Just to mention one reason, overwork is clearly linked to an increased risk of heart disease and strokes. Danish companies know this, and they recognize that employees also deserve a life outside of work, and that 80-hour work weeks are bad for both employees and for the bottom line. That's why the official Danish work week is 37 hours. Now, it's worth noting that while Danish workers work fewer hours, they are not slacking. In fact, they are way more productive in those hours, and they rank towards the top of the OECD's worker productivity lists. Reason number 2, low power distance. In many countries, if your boss gives you an order, you pretty much have to do as you're told. In a Danish workplace, extremely few direct orders are ever given, and employees would be much more likely to view them as suggestions rather than orders.
Okay.
The Dutch sociologist Gert Hofstede has quantified the workplace culture in more than 100 countries on several different parameters, one of which is power distance. A high power distance means that a society accepts and expects that power is distributed unequally, or in other words, that bosses are undisputed kings whose every word is law. Danish workplaces with a score of 18 out of 100 have the lowest power distance in the world. Just for comparison, Belgium has a power distance of 65, China clocks in at 80, and Malaysia holds the world record at an even 100 out of 100.
Dang.
This means that Danish employees experience much more autonomy and are much more empowered at work. It's even part of Danish employment law. For instance, employees in Danish companies with 35 employees or more are entitled to elect a number of representatives to the board of directors of the company. The number elected by employees is half the number elected by those who own the company, but at least 2. And these employee representatives serve on an equal footing and with the same voting powers as all other board members. The research shows a clear link between autonomy and happiness at work. Being involved and empowered in your job feels amazing. Being constantly micromanaged and told what to do is awful and stressful.
Yeah, I agree, guys. If you're enjoying this video, hit like, hit subscribe, and you'll find a link in the description section down below for priority requests if you want to make one yourself. This one is one from Dolly, so shout out to her.
Reason number 3, generous unemployment benefits. In Denmark, losing your job is not the end of the world, and unemployment benefits seem almost too good to be true, paying workers up to 90% of their original salary for 2 years.
Yeah, I think in America, I think you get like 30% of like what you were making, I believe. I don't know for sure, but I think it's only like 30%. I don't know that you can do it for 2 years. That seems like I want to say like a year max. Don't quote me on it. I don't know, but I think it's like a year max here.
And crucially, you also receive these benefits if you quit yourself and not only if you are fired.
Major difference, because here you have to be fired, and it has to be, you have to prove that it's like no fault of your own. Like you just got the short end of the stick. If you can prove that, then you can get it. Way big difference.
This means that if you don't like your job, you can quit that job without risking serious financial problems.
Wow.
Which in turn forces companies to treat their employees well, or they will lose them.
How many people take advantage though? I mean, I feel like there would be some people taking advantage of something like that though. I mean, maybe that's just how there's a lot of Americans that would. It's wrong, but they would.
In many other countries, unemployment benefits are less generous or non-existent. They're available for a much shorter period of time,
Yeah.
or they're just not available to people who quit themselves, but only to those who get fired. In the US,
Yeah.
it's even worse. There's the additional problem that losing your job can mean losing your health insurance. And this or
If
lacking
if you have it even begin with,
unemployment benefits can lead to something called job lock, where people stay in jobs they hate simply because they can't afford to leave. In other words, you may hate your job, but if you quit, you and your family no longer has any income or access to healthcare. So you stay even though you hate it.
it's
In Denmark,
unfortunate.
of course, healthcare is public and paid for through taxes, so that's just not an issue. When it's
Yeah.
easy and safe to quit a job, there is much less risk in leaving a job you hate. Even if you choose not to quit, just knowing that you could makes things more bearable. Hating your job while knowing that you can't possibly quit makes everything worse.
And it really, really does, for sure. That's why I want to move to Europe. I'm pretty sure I want to move to the Netherlands. In the southern region, nestled between Belgium and Germany, would be great. That's kind of like where I got my eye on. So that's what I'm working on. Got some bills to work out. It'll be a couple years before I can get over there. Got some bills. And then I got to figure out the passport thing. And then there's some personal stuff that I got to take care of. But that is in the plans.
Reason number 4, constant training and development. Since the mid 1800s, Denmark has prioritized lifelong education of its workers. These policies continue to this day with an extremely comprehensive set of government, union, and corporate programs that allow almost any employee who so desires to take trainings and pick up new qualifications free of charge on paid time. Denmark spends more money on these types of programs than any other country. This lets Danish workers
Cool.
constantly grow and develop their skills and helps them stay relevant, not to mention stay employed, even in a changing work environment. It also makes their jobs richer and more interesting and therefore more fun. And the fifth and final reason.
And you gotta have fun. That's important, guys. You gotta love what you do and have fun, or you're gonna be miserable. That's real. That's why I try to do this YouTube stuff. Try to do it full time. I enjoy it. I love learning. This is like amazing, amazing, amazing. So that's the plan.
Reason is this. Here's a word that exists only in the Scandinavian languages.
Only.
Arbejdsglæde. Now,
What's
if
that?
you don't speak Danish, you're
I
probably
don't.
thinking there's no way that's a real word. I probably threw a bunch of random Scrabble tiles on the floor and that's what they happen to spell. But I swear to God, this is a real word that you will find in any Danish dictionary. Arbejde in Danish means work and glæde means happiness. So arbejdsglæde is happiness at work. Now, this word is not in common use in any other language on the planet except the Scandinavian ones. In fact, many people around the world hate their jobs and consider this to be perfectly normal. For instance, where we Danes have the word arbejdsglæde, the Japanese instead have the word karoshi, which means death from overwork. This is not just a
Everybody else, they don't have that word. What they have is the opposite, which means like death from overwork. Like that's how drastically different it is in Denmark, right, guys? Like that's crazy. Yeah. Oh, and I don't hate my job. My job is technically making these videos for you guys. I love this. I love the viewers. I love reacting to these videos and learning. This is amazing. If you love it too, hit like, hit subscribe, and there's links down below for everything, the Discord and priority requests and all that, music reacts channel and stuff. So check it out. Let's finish this. You guys are awesome.
linguistic quirk. There is a word for liking your job in Danish because Danes actually care about having good jobs. To most Danes, a job isn't just a way to get paid. We fully expect to enjoy ourselves at
You
work.
got to.
For that reason, Danish workplaces have a long-standing focus on wanting to make their employees happy. Their employees expect it, and most won't put up with a bad workplace. And as we saw previously, the generous unemployment benefits make it easy for Danes to quit. And
It's
again,
crazy.
this is not just a tradition. Employee happiness is written into employment law. Here's
That's
an
nuts.
example. Pretty much every country has a government agency that sets requirement for physical workplace safety and sends out inspectors to visit factories and construction sites to make sure that the correct safety equipment is being used and that workers are following safety regulations. So why not do the same for psychological workplace safety? We do that in
Okay,
Denmark.
okay.
The Danish Working Environment Authorities can conduct inspections in workplaces where
Can't
they
read that.
suspect that working conditions are psychologically unsafe, not just physically unsafe. And they can go in
Nice.
and inspect things like the amount of work and time pressure. They can look at bullying and sexual harassment, bad leadership, or contradictory or unclear work
They need that here in America, guys. America needs to learn from other countries for sure.
requirements. If they find that the workplace is psychologically unsafe, they can issue mandates that the company must follow, and in serious cases, they can also issue fines.
Nice.
This is important because, physical safety matters. Breaking a leg because you trip over something at work is painful and can take a long time to heal. But make no mistake about it, being bullied by your boss or working under constant stress can affect your mental and physical health even worse.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense to mandate standards for psychological workplace safety and inspect workplaces to make sure these standards are followed. However, in many countries, the attitude towards work is very different. A few years ago, I gave a speech in Chicago, and an audience member protested that, of course I hate my job. That's why I get paid to do it. Um, and many people around the world hate their jobs and consider this to be perfectly normal.
I hate it.
Similarly, many
I can't stand that people are just okay with it. I'm not okay with it. That's why I try to do other stuff. Like I don't put myself in that position. I try to think outside the box and be more open and everything. And then Americans are just like so close-minded about the stuff. It's crazy to me. It's crazy.
places around the world do little or nothing to create happiness among their employees.
Right.
They stick to a philosophy that if you're enjoying yourself, you're not working hard enough. I am not trying to paint Danish companies as utopias for workers, okay? Or their international counterparts as tyrannical hellholes. There are bad Danish workplaces and there are fantastic non-Danish workplaces, but there are a number of systemic and cultural differences between Denmark and the rest of the world that serve to explain why Danish workers are on average so much happier. And if there's one thing that I'd love for other countries to learn from Denmark, it's this. We know from any number of studies that happy workers are more productive and more innovative, and that consequently good companies have happier customers and make more money. This, by the way, may help explain why Danish workers are among the most productive in the OECD and why the Danish economy continues to do so well. So the lesson is this. When a country focuses on treating employees well rather than running them ragged, it is not a drain on society or the bottom line of corporations. Quite the contrary, making employees happier will boost the economy, which makes it a complete no-brainer. Oh, and by the way, also fewer people will burn out and become sick or die because of crappy jobs. And I personally think that would kind of be a pretty awesome thing too. Stay happy.
Man, I can't wait to move to Europe, guys. Like, why am I stuck in America? I have the European mindset. All these videos, the way that the mindset's different in Europe than is America. Like most of the stuff with the mindset of the European versus America, I'm on board with that. That's how I've been thinking. Over here, people look at me like I'm this or that, and just because I have a different viewpoint than the average American, but. Maybe it's the average American that has the wrong viewpoint and it's not myself. Maybe this country is just not that great. Maybe it's messed up. Maybe this false sense of American freedom and all this crazy stuff that they force feed you growing up. Maybe it's not all quite what it's chalked up to be. And it's just a bunch of crappy political propaganda, and I don't know, but I'm going to move to Europe in a couple of years. It's going to be great. I can't wait. And in the meantime, you guys have a super fun, awesome day. Take care.